Afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the Leeds View for the match reaction for Derby County 1, Leeds United 3. Got there in the end. Probably not the most convincing of performances by Leeds United, specifically in the first half. Second half was far, far better from this side. We'll get into all the ins and outs of it. We'll talk about the second half reaction to a disappointing first half, and we'll talk about the chances and the goals and the players that came in for Leeds that probably need to try and make a bit of a mark to try and get themselves very much back in Daniel Farke's plans, whether they did or did not. We will talk about it over the next 15-20 minutes. We will get your comments in the back end of the video. With the initial part, we'll just do the overview. If you're listening on audio platforms, you can give us a star rating on your audio platforms as well as a comment. And if you're watching on YouTube, if you could like the video. If you're watching on demand, if you could stick a like and a hype on it. And if you're not subscribed, subscribe to the channel for daily Leeds United news as well as 2 weekly podcasts. Right, let's start off and get into things. And yeah, a really championshipy kind of feel to that from a Leeds perspective. The team lineup that went out at the start of the game, I thought this is an interesting looking lineup. Looked like a 3-4-3 or a 3-4-1-2. We thought Leeds would have enough first team players, 8 changes, but still enough in that side to try and take apart a mid-table Derby County. Daniel Farke's record against Derby coming into the game wasn't great. His record against John Hughes, yet to beat him. They overturned that one today, so no Russell Martin repeats in that situation. But there was stuff for Leeds to do, and I thought there's a lot of these Leeds players need to make a case to try and get into Daniel Farke's plans, and we will likely see a fast tempo of the game. And we didn't get that in the first half. We got a tempo we saw at times last season. We saw possession heavy, slow build up, lack of movement off the ball, and a really poor first half in terms of what Leeds did. The statistics all suggest Leeds were excellent in the first half, chance creations, all of that, but Leeds didn't really eke out a clear-cut chance in the first half outside of Joel Piroux hitting the post. And he had an unusual enough game. He was one of the players that TNT Sports spoke about quite a lot and thought he should have been man of the match. He's involved in 2 goals, but I thought for me, he was trying to do an awful lot of stuff on his own today and try and get a goal rather than try and bring other players into the game. When he did start to link the play, when he did start to find other players, far better as well. Jack Harrison getting his first start. Again, same stuff we see with Jack Harrison from time after time. Crosses are a problem for a man who has been a winger for his entire football career. But some good performances in there as well. Tanaka was one of the few players in the first half who was trying to inject tempo into the Leeds United approach. I thought Willie Nanto came into the game and was very strong in the second half. And that Lucas Mecha made some very, very good runs. And Yacobial, very solid at the back. We'll talk about their goal as well. Some people obviously already saying that maybe Carl Darlow should have done better for that. I spoke to a goalkeeper, and again, similar to Lucas Perry, he said very close to him. It's down low. It's a tricky one to get to. So the shot probably shouldn't get away, and that's probably the bigger talking point as well, how he's managed to get a chance there. Some strange decisions by Leeds in the first half, just in general. When Leeds did get possession of the ball, not a huge amount of players looking to get on it and looking to show for the ball, and individually Leeds had to do an awful lot of work. And someone said that Derby would drag us down to their level. I think we probably started at a championship level. You got that vibe in the first half that Leeds felt comfortable against Derby, and maybe a little bit too comfortable, and maybe didn't approach this with the intensity that was needed. It would likely hear Daniel Farke's comments after the game around that. But the second half, we saw a turnaround. It took a little bit of time to get going, but when it did, Leeds had a 10-minute spell where they absolutely upped the tempo, upped the approach, and finished off the game, got 2 good goals at that point. And then they kind of managed the game out a little bit, kept control of the ball, again, slowed the game down and just made Derby work for it. But they had the lead at that point. And then in the injury time, get a good breakaway. Great advantage played by a referee who personally I thought today didn't give a shite about that match. If I'm being completely honest, Forsyth, the left back for them, could have seen a couple of yellow cards in that match and probably should have definitely had one at one point. There was a studs through Willie Nanto at one point that probably if VAR was involved in the game, might have seen even more than yellow card. Referee Anthony Taylor didn't give it any card at all. And he was reluctant to give an awful lot of stuff today. And luckily for Leeds, there was no injuries or issues. Well, there's one injury, and that's Sebastian Borneo going off at half-time with a bit of a groin problem. James Justin coming on to replace him. And then James Justin scores his first goal for Leeds United and his first goal since the 3rd round of the FA Cup last season as well. So consistency there from James Justin and a really good goal as well. We'll go through all the bits and pieces as well. We'll talk about it. But I thought second half, far better than the first half. Leeds should have attacked that game. There were players on the pitch who need to make a case to stay at the club and need to make a case to get in the first team. And I don't think enough of them probably did that. First half wise, it was a really slow start. It wasn't a fantastic game of football to watch at all. Derby had probably the better chances early in the first half. They had 2 chances, 1-20 20th minute and 123rd minute as well, where they had an outswinging ball. Danny Bat got his head on it, went wide, and then they had another chance with a pretty fast break, and Blackett Taylor comes inside. Barnell blocks the shot, and it went through to that Carl Darlow, and that was probably a warning shot of where the goal was likely to come from. And Leeds' chances, I think there was the 30th minute, 29th minute where Leeds had their first real chance, and it was a decent work by out Tanaka as well. Picked it up, and he was the one player who was just trying to push Leeds forward. He broke into space, and he fed the ball through to Lucas Meche. He's tackled by Danny Bat. It breaks to Joe Perry, who smashes it off the post and it goes down. And Leeds' first real chance, they'd won straight after that as well. Okafor cut inside, he had a shot. Meche got a little touch on it, and it's a decent save by the goalkeeper. And their keeper, to his credit, had a decent game today. Made some very big saves for them early on. The big chance came in the 31st minute. Again, Tanaka coming out with the ball for Leeds, plays it through. Lucas Meche goes down, penalty kick to Leeds United. Joe Pirou stepped up. I thought Lucas Meche would take it, but the comments have been that when he's on the pitch, Joe Pirou is the penalty taker. It might be changing that after this one. And his penalty is a good height for the goalkeeper. He doesn't hit it hard enough, but it's a very good save by the goalkeeper as well. And the penalty's missed. And then 3 minutes later, Derby County score, and you could just feel it coming, and it was poor defending for me. Blackett Taylor cuts inside, goes down, possible shout for a penalty, but Leeds don't react to the breaking ball quick enough. Brenton Diaz picks up the ball and shoots in from a wide angle across Carl Darlow into the far corner, and they take the lead. Willianto has a shot from distance before half time, and then Okafor down the left hand side gives the ball to Pirou, who shoots, and it's saved. The rebound bounces to Pirou. Is a good shot and a good save by the goalkeeper. So from a first half perspective, the positives were Tanaka trying to inject pace into the game. That was probably about it. Yakubi all doing a decent job handling their striker as well, as he normally tends to do. And that was pretty much it from a positive perspective in the first half. There wasn't a huge amount for Leeds to actually have to do in that half. From a negative perspective, the tempo was too slow. The passing wasn't good enough. There wasn't any movement off the ball for players looking to find space to get passes from Leeds. And it was pretty pedestrian, passive football from Leeds United. They slowed it down every single time they got an opportunity to put their foot on the ball instead of just picking the pace up and going at them. Now, Farke must have laid into them a little bit of half time because they came out in the second half a far different side. They had a chance pretty early on the second half as well. Joe Pirou, a lovely 1-2 with Willie Nanton. Pirou shoots from distance, deflected wide, and there was kind of an indication of Leeds were going to have a go at this. Corners didn't lead to anything today. Jack Harrison's corners, unfortunately, and his free kicks led to exactly what we expect from Jack Harrison's deliveries, failing to beat the front man, are too low, and ultimately being dealt with by Derby pretty easily. Leeds' goal comes in the 55th minute from Willie Nanto. Tanaka and Bial were a lovely 1-2. Again, there's the difference. When Tanaka got that ball played into him, his first decision was a quick 1-2 around the corner. He wasn't trying to take loads of touches or take lots out of the ball, and he gives it to Yakubi to pushes forward. And it's passed across. And Joe Pirou does really well in this situation. He was doing an awful lot of individual stuff at that point for himself, not for the team. And this was a really clever move for Joe Pirou. Steps over the ball. Willie Nanto runs onto it. And the shot is pretty much straight at the goalkeeper, but he's hit it with enough power that's gone over the goalkeeper and into the back of the net. And it's a lovely strike from Willie Nanto. And he came into the game an awful lot more after that. 2 minutes later, Leeds score again, out Tanaka. It's another nice work. Meche does really well to keep the ball alive, chasing it, turns around, brings the ball back into play to Noah Okafor. He gives it to Joe Pirou, and he shoots. It's a really good save by their goalkeeper. And out Tanaka, following in, gets it tapping. No celebration, but good work. 74th minute, Leeds did get a chance. First decent cross by Jack Harrison. Cuts in on his right foot, whips the ball into the box. Great ball by Harrison. And Lucas Meche with a really good header. But the goalkeeper, Zetterstrom, who had a very, very good game for Derby, makes a really good save. And then 93rd minute, Leeds get the other goal. The ref was played advantage for a free kick. There's a foul on Leeds. The lines and flags for it. The referee says not play on. Anton Stach picks up, bursts forward, plays a lovely ball in front of Lucas Meche to break into space. And he's very clever. James Justin is breaking his backside on the far side of the pitch to try and get into some space. And he's a little look up, and it's a lovely ball weighted with the outside of his right foot. Brings the goalkeeper out, and James Justin manages to nutmeg the goalkeeper. Ball through his legs, hits off the inside the post, and goes into the back of the net for his first goal to Leeds United. From a ref's perspective, he wasn't great, but it ultimately didn't affect us too much. He possibly could have given Derby a penalty before their goal was scored. Could have given Leeds one maybe as well, but ultimately not a huge impact in the game, but didn't really look like he wanted to have any kind of an impact in that game. He was, as I say, didn't look arsed to me at all. He felt like he was reffing a testimonial or a friendly for me. So there was that. From a line of perspective, starting out the game, as I said, it looked like it was going to be a very attacking side. We didn't get that. We got it in the second half. No major changes needed either. It would have been nice to see Sam Chambers coming on, but we got Sam Byram, we got Brendan Aronson, and we got Anton Stach. as well to come onto the park, and James Justin, he came on at half time. From a team performance perspective, first half I thought it was poor, pedestrian, slow by Leeds, playing within themselves. Second half, far better. But for the players that were looking to make a mark and get into Daniel Farke's thoughts, I think a couple of them would have struggled to do that. And I think Leeds need to park sentimentality in this window. There are players in that squad that aren't adding enough value to what we're doing and will probably need to be moved on in January. From what's been said around the club right now, nothing is going on at the club in terms of transfers. Hopefully that ends up not being the case. Daniel Farke said maybe some movement after this Derby County game and get that one out of the way. They've got a week now before their next match, and they can probably look to try and get some stuff done. But they need to do some work. Individual-wise, out Tanaka, Willie Gnonto, and Yakubia, probably the three best players for Leeds. Willie Gnonto got man of the match from TNT. I thought Tanaka was excellent for Leeds throughout the game. Again, one of the few players trying to make sure Leeds kept ticking over. Lucas Mecha made some really, really good runs at times. Didn't always get the ball. Held it up quite well, especially in the second half when he got his chances. And ultimately, it sees Leeds through to the fourth round of the FA Cup. Standout notes on this one, though. There were some old habits that started to seep back in, and they want to knock them out of their system pretty quickly. And Leeds will need to start being on the front foot an awful lot more. They can't behave like that in matches. You've seen sides who will be rated by the Premier League standards as being better sides than us attack us very early in games. You're playing sides that have been each or at least a division below you. You've got to get at them early and set a tempo. We didn't do that today, but we got away with it in the second half. Very good second half performance by Leeds. Struggled in the first half, but ultimately we get a win and we're through to the next round, which is something we haven't said for a very long time. I think the statistic today was 1985 since Leeds got to the FA Cup quarterfinal. It'd be nice to get a bit of a run out, wouldn't it? Right, folks, I think we'll probably start to wrap it up there. Massive thanks as always for joining me today. Leeds United have got through to the fourth round of the FA Cup. Job done. All that was needed. Some run out for some players who probably needed some game time, some question marks over some of them coming in. We go into the Fulham game next week at home at Ellen Road, a game that Leeds need to try and target for 3 points and start to push on. The scary statistic is Leeds are on the exact same amount of points now as they were the season they went down. I was told that by my mate Brian Taff. Thanks for that, Brian. So Leeds still have work to do. The 49ers can't sit on their hands in January. There is additions needed. Today's proven that in some areas. So work to do. Be interesting to see what Daniel Farke does with the goalkeeping position next week. As I always say, everyone's entitled to their opinion on that one. We'll see how it goes. We'll see what he decides to do. Get behind the lads next weekend, once they go out on the pitch. Back tomorrow morning for the news. We'll see what is floating around as we get into the period of time where Daniel Farke said Leeds may dip into the transfer market. Folks, have a great rest of your weekend. Thanks as always for watching. If you could stick a like on the video on your way out the door, that'd be appreciated. I will talk to you very soon. Talk to you later. Enjoy your weekend. See you later.